Hello everybody and welcome to the next Redstone lesson. Today I want to talk about clocks and short pulses, so let me hop in. The first clock that I want to show you is this one, and I think that's the most used clock because it's very simple and easy to understand. So I want to explain it first. We got a redstone torch which will power redstone dust, power a repeater, which will then power this redstone, which will unlit the redstone torch. So it always blinks between on and off, and this is the basic clock with 3 ticks. It's necessary that you know that you can't do a 2-tick clock with this because the redstone torch will burn out. So the minimum of ticks of this clock are 3 ticks, but of course you can make a longer delay, for example a 5-tick clock. You can see it's much slower than the 3-tick clock I showed you a moment ago. And yes, you can modify it in every way you want, and it works most of the time fine. Of course you can add some repeater like this, so you have a very slow clock. In this design I've got 5 repeater on 4 ticks delay, plus the redstone torch is in total 21 ticks, so we have a signal which stays on for 21 ticks and then off for 21 ticks. Of course you can change the layout of this clock, but the principle is still the same. You could also maybe use 3 redstone torches in your clock and it would work as well, but it always has to be an 1, 3 or 5 redstone torches, so it will turn on and off again. And you can also make a 1 white design like this one, where you've got the redstone torch on top of the block, which will power this block, power the redstone, and then the repeater down here. This one can also be a 3-tick clock, so it's a bit faster, or a 5-tick clock, which is a bit slower. Sometimes you will need a very fast clock, which is this one. For example, I showed you this in, I think, the last redstone lesson. It's a comparator clock where you can get your output from the side. Let me grab a repeater over here, and it will blink with 1 tick because we've got redstone power level 15 at the back, and then it's 15 at the front, 14, 13, and then it calculates 15 minus 13, which is 2, so 2, 1, and then here's 0. But I still got some problems with this clock, that the repeater here stays lit, so I prefer this one for item elevators, for example, which is the torch burnout clock. It works because when I have a single redstone torch, it will power the block, which will power then redstone here, which will unlit the redstone torch. But when I do it with only 1 torch, it will only give me 8 pulses and then turn off. But if you do it with 3 redstone torches, it will always turn on and off, and you can get your output, for example, from here. I will now turn it off because the noise is a bit annoying, and move on to the next clock, which is this one. In this clock we've got 2 hopper which face into each other, and in these 2 hoppers is 1 item, and when the item is in this hopper it will get moved over to this one, and when it's in this one it will get moved over to this one, and we will get an output when the item is in this hopper. It's a nice clock because it will run always. There was, or there is, I don't know, a problem with repeaters and unloading chunks that they stop working and you got lit up comparators when there is no redstone signal at the back, and this one always works. I had never problem with this one, but the downside to this one is that you can't get the correct number of the pulses. So when I freeze my screen for a second, you can see we got 4 repeaters unlit and 3 lit at the moment, but sometimes there are also 4 repeaters lit, 3 unlit, so I couldn't figure out the correct number for this. Most of the times it's about 7 ticks for turning on and turning off, but it's a nice way. For example, if you want to work with command blocks and you need an input for the test for command blocks which don't need to be a 1-tick clock. If you need longer pulses than these ones, you can use a hopper clock which looks like this. I made a tutorial for this a while ago, but I still use it. I haven't found a better design, and this one works in a way that there are more than 1 items, and when the items are over here they get to this one, and this one is blocked as long as there are items in this one. So only when this one gets empty it will put the items from this one back to this, and it's very good if you want to use many items. So for example, you've got 5 stacks of items, you can get a very long clock. I think it's 255 seconds, but I will link the tutorial on the screen to this clock, which I made a while ago, so you can check out this. There I will also explain how you can calculate the times that you need. So for example, if you need 3 seconds for 1 pulse to be on, then you can calculate it with the amount of items that you put in. So that's the clocks that I use. Maybe there are some other clocks that I don't use, but these are the ones that I think are important. And then I thought, when I'm working with clocks, what else do I need? And most of the times, especially when you work with clocks with long timings like this one or the one back here, which got long on and off times, you need shorter pulses, and therefore I want to show you pulse shorteners as well. So the first one, which I want to show you, is this one. I used it in my in one of my last tutorials, the one with the triple piston extender. It's basically that you power this redstone dust, which will then unlit this torch, and 2 ticks after I unlit the torch I will lit the repeater, so I get a 2-tick pulse over here. There's only one downside to this, that you can't do a 1-tick pulse, because a 1-tick pulse can travel through redstone torches. So if I put this to 2 ticks, then we have 1-tick difference in both in the upper one and the down delay, and when I now power and unpower it, nothing will happen because the 1-tick pulse can travel to the redstone torch. but it's a good way to do a pulse shortener for pulses which are longer than 2 ticks or longer than 1 tick, because you need no pistons. If you need a 1 tick pulse on an upcoming flank, I would recommend you to use this design, which is a sticky piston with a block on top. So when I power this redstone dust, I will power the block and the signal can traverse through and go into the repeater. And also I will power the piston, which will extend, and then the block is gone and no signal can go into the repeater, so I will get a 1 tick pulse. Of course, I can do a longer delay up to 3 ticks when I make a longer delay back here, and then I will get a longer pulse. But I would say if you need longer pulses, use this design, because I think you can also do maybe 10 ticks or something like this, and it's easier to work with this design than with this one. And when you need an falling flank detector with a short pulse, I would use this one. I often use this one actually. You also saw it in a Redstone lesson before, and I said I will explain it later. Now it's the time to explain it. And the way this works is when I power the switch here, both repeater will get powered. But because this one gets powered first, it will lock this one with the unpowered stage, so nothing happens. And when I now unpower the contraption, this one will get unpowered first, and then this one still got power, so for 1 tick the power can go through and we will get a 1 tick pulse on a falling flank, just like this. When we need a flank detector without falling an upcoming flank, you can combine these two to this contraption, which will give me a pulse on a falling and upcoming flank, because the redstone dust and the sticky piston with the repeater will give me a pulse on the upcoming flank, and this contraption will give me a pulse on the falling flank. Of course, we can also change the delay so that we got, for example, on the upcoming flank 4 ticks, and on the falling flank 1 tick. 4 ticks, 1 tick. So you can play around with this, and it's very useful to combine with clocks, so that you have a maybe 3 tick pulse every 10 ticks or something like this. So you will get 3 ticks on, 7 ticks off, and so on. And you can create every pattern that you want. So I think that that's enough for one lesson, and I would say thanks for watching. If you have any suggestions what I should do in the next lesson, please leave a comment below. So again, thanks for watching. If you like this tutorial, this lesson, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video with your friends. And I would say thanks for watching.